There's a playtime counter also for counting the minutes that you spend on this game, and if you've played all 10/almost 11 games like me in a row and are counting your time that you've thieved wages from a job that hates you, then it's a lot. Alright, last time we met our protagonists, Estelle and Joshua, who are in a little player character train right here if you see them move. Ta-da! We have Cassius, the dad, who's sitting at the table, who's a bracer, and Joshua and Estelle are going to finish their training at the Bracer Guild today. So we've already seen the upstairs just from the intro screenshots, and if we look in here, this is the dad's office and also the bed where Joshua was in the beginning. If we hold down A, we can run, which makes it a little faster. I do also just want to point out as we're getting started that there is this thing called turbo mode that makes it go even faster, but I don't think we should use that for a lot of the time. I might use it in some of the fights and I'll try to let you know. It's just hard to watch for a very long time. And then if we walk outside, we can see this is quite a nice house. There is a lake next to it with some pretty nice looking water, honestly. I think that this game was made in 2004. I'll double check, and if that's not right, I'll flash up the right number on the screen and add a little voice note. But yeah, there's just some greenery about. It's a little country home. There's a dirt road leading away from the house. And this leads us to the Elise Highway. Also, if we go to the main menu, which is the camp menu, it says, we have a portrait of Estelle wielding her staff behind her back. She has a skirt or bike shorts on, which is my favorite clothes, so it looks pretty good to me. And she has a big old smile. And then we have Joshua, who actually has 12 more HP than her, which is really interesting. We have HP for health points or hit points, based on what game it is. I don't know what it is. And then there's also EP, which they're going to explain, but we'll get to that. And you can see all their stats here. I'm also flashing up Joshua right now. He has kind of a tunic on and pants, and he has exactly one pauldron, and then he has arm guards. It's a very weird array of armor. He's also dual wielding some little baby swords. His eyes are amber, but because the pupils look really similar to it, he looks like he has button eyes like the other mother in Coraline. We also have an equip menu, so you can change their, obviously, armor and weapons. There's an orbment menu. I don't know what that means yet. There's also items, in which we have a Liberal Kingdom map, but we're going to see one very soon anyway, so I'm just going to exit out. And there's a playtime counter also for counting the minutes that you spend on this game, and if you've played all 10/almost 11 games like me in a row and are counting your time that you've thieved wages from a job that hates you, then it's a lot. There's a sign that goes west to the Bright House. It's very bitchy to have a sign to your house. I really like it. And then there's a nicer looking sign that says Roland 49 Selge and South Garoon Gate 259 Selge. So we know that Selge is just a measure. There are a lot of little, contraptions on the side of the road. These are orbment lights, but we'll talk about them. So you have a pan over the city of Roland, over these two children playing in the street. This is where the clock tower is. There's an outdoor cafe, and there's a Bracer Guild. So at the gate, Joshua says, "It looks like we made it in good time. Not too early or too late either. We just barely graduated from Sunday school. I never dreamed we'd have to study so hard to become bracers." "Well, you're in luck. Today's our last day of training. Truth be told, though, you're the one who signed up to be a bracer in the first place, so I don't know why you'd expect to get away with any less effort." "Oh, yeah, I guess I did. All right then. Let's get to it and make it through this last hazing from Sche-Ra. You look ready to me. Let's go and meet with Sche-Ra at the Bracer Guild over there then." So there is, well, first of all, I feel like the hazing is supposed to show that Sche-Ra is cool, even though hazing is super not cool, obviously, but we know what it's coded as. So there are the little kids playing around. One of the things that's a trademark of Trails is that you can interact with the NPCs to such an extent. Their dialogue is always changing. They have their own little arcs and stories. It makes the world feel real. So we have somebody behind the counter. It's a room where there's a desk with some papers, then there's a counter with a woman standing behind it. Her name is Ina, it says, and she does have a portrait. She has like blonde ringlets, and she's wearing a gray dress and a little cool gray like choker with a redstone. I just think it's cool. Whatever. So there are also some bulletin boards which become important, but we'll cover those. Ina says, there you two are. Good morning, Stell. Good morning, Joshua. Morning, Ina. Good morning. Is Sche-Ra here already? Yes, she's waiting for you upstairs. Once you finish today's training, you'll finally be recognized as members of the guild. Good luck to the both of you. Thanks. We'll do our best. Forgive me for any misreads. I'm gonna try to get the spirit of the conversation right, though. So going upstairs, it fades in from black. There's a woman with silver hair sitting at a table. This is Sche-Ra's art, it says in the portrait description. She seems to be concentrating deeply. She's wearing a lot of silver and turquoise jewelry and a pretty revealing outfit. It does feel like Edward Said would be unhappy with her depiction, but she has depths beyond being exoticized. So Sche-Ra says, the star and the hanged man, the hermit and the magician, and last of all, inversion through the wheel of fortune. This is a difficult combination. How should I interpret this? Good morning, Sche-Ra. Estelle and Joshua come up the stairs. Well, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua. This is a rare occasion for the both of you to show up so early. Since it's my last day of training, I figured, why not? I'm ready to get this show on the road and become a bracer myself. I'll give you credit for your enthusiasm, but I'm going to work you hard today in every way I can think of to make sure that high-spirited attitude of yours holds up. I hope you're ready. I can feel that enthusiasm dropping already. Quiet, you. Every time I teach you something, you somehow manage to forget it. This training is my way of trying to keep some of that information in your head instead of letting it dribble out your ears like it usually does. Joshua, Sche-Ra's picking on me. Don't worry, Sche-Ra. While Estelle may hate studying and rarely ever does her homework, acts rashly, is overly naive, and has a tendency to stick her nose into everything, her instincts are sharp, so I'm sure she'll pick up on how to use an orbit with some practice, eventually. Probably. I guess there's not much I can do now except hope for the best. Hold on a sec, Joshua. Somehow I get the feeling that you weren't standing up for me. Well, that's odd. I'm positive I described all your best traits accurately, he says with a shit-eating grin. Whatever. By the way, Sche-Ra, what were you trying to predict with your tarot cards? Your face was really intent. Oh, this? She looks a little sad. I was just trying to get a vague reading about what might happen in the near future. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have been in the right mindset to interpret the cards correctly. You couldn't read the cards? Now that's surprising to hear. Actually, the more profound the meaning of the cards, the more difficult they become to interpret. But that's not important now. I think it's time we start your final training. I'll give you a brief rundown of all the information we covered in your previous training. This is the minimal level of knowledge that bracers should have in order to function effectively. And Estelle, make sure you pay especially close attention to what I'm going to say. Yeah. What would you like to know about? So we have a few options. I'm just going to go through them and read them and try to describe them. The first one is about orbments, which is something that Joshua mentioned that Estelle is going to struggle to learn how to use. Whatever. So here we see a picture of, well, in the background there's the airship and the clock tower. There's also this old-timey, like, 3-arm street lamp. But in the foreground, we can see that on a chain there is this thing that looks kind of like a watch, except for the insides are a little different. You can see there's some crystal inlay. So we're looking at an orbment. This is Sche-Ra. Orbments are mechanical devices which operate by using what is known as orbal energy. A variety of effects can be produced depending on their structure and the type of quartz or processed septium installed. although it's only been about 50 years since their invention. These devices play an integral role in all facets of life, from lights, heaters, and other everyday products to weapons, magic, and even airships. In connection, this technological reform is commonly known as the Orbital Revolution. Also, just with orbments in specific, and also just geography at large, there's a lot to explain and just a lot going on that they try to plunge you into really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and just re-explain it at multiple occasions and also try to give these definitions really clearly, so hopefully, if you bear with me, it will all make sense. About bracers. We have pictures of lots of people in the background doing just various things. There's someone appears to be taking notes for a professor. There's someone carrying books. There's someone defending a nun from what looks like squirrel monsters. And somebody escorting a truck. Bracers are investigative and combat specialists who work to protect civilians and maintain the stability of their respective regions. They aid the community in various ways, such as exterminating monsters, preventing crime, finding lost items, and escorting people and goods. The Bracer Guild, which has established branches across the continent, manages the affairs of the bracers in each region. Bracers kind of sound like police, you might say to yourself. I think they're a little different and they operate a little more like mutual aid, but you know what, that's a discussion for another time. Also, this is not Bracer apologia. About the Liberal Kingdom. We see a picture, there's a map, and I can describe the map in more detail later because Estelle is the one we're playing as, does actually have a map in her inventory. But I'll read the info here. The Kingdom of Liberal, in which we live, sits on the western half of the Zemurian continent and abounds with nature and deep-rooted traditions. Liberal is proud to be one of the leading producers of septium on the continent, and it's known for its high level of technology used to develop orbments. Orbment technology has also been a key pillar of support for Liberal in protecting its independence as it has contended with neighboring nations. 10 years ago, when Liberal was invaded by the Erebonian Empire, it was the use of orbital-powered airships that saved the kingdom from defeat. Consequently, even now, our relationship with the Empire is somewhat sensitive. But thanks to the Queen's political finesse, Liberal enjoys peace. Alright, clicking out of that menu. Let's see. Since we've got a mountain of stuff to do today, I'll let you off the hook this time with a condensed review. I'm going to speed things up now and move on to the practical portion of your training. Sche-Ra? How is today's practical training any different from the training we've done before? Since it's practical, that means you will be experiencing things firsthand. Therefore, I'm going to have the both of you run through everything as if this were a real bracer job. So what you're saying is, there won't be any studying at a desk involved? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. She has a fond look on her face. She's indulging this for Estelle. This time you'll have to go out and make a physical effort to accomplish your task. I'll make sure to have you work up a sweat, so I hope you're ready. Yes, that's seriously just what the doctor ordered. I didn't know what I was going to do if I had to sit another day with my tush parked at a desk. I guess I got all worried for nothing. Well, suddenly you're all bright and cheerful, Estelle. Let's just hope that smile on your face lasts until the end of today's training. Okay, let's get cracking on your first objective, shall we? Let's have at it. Downstairs. Your first objective will be to confirm the details of the job you'll be performing. But before that, there is something that we need to give the both of you. Ina, are they ready? Yes, they are. All right, you two, go get one for each of yourselves. Okay, we have control. We talk to Ina. These are very important, so make sure not to lose them. Received Bracer Notebook. Bracer notebooks serve as the official way to record the status of your current jobs. Also, anything you may hear or anything that you may find and where, these kinds of trivial things can often become clues. No matter how insignificant something may seem, always write it down. Understood. And at the same time that Joshua says understood, Estelle says crap. This sounds like it's going to be a pain. Oh? Sche-Ra says. Please tell me it was my ears playing tricks on me because I swear I only got one response. I'm sure there were two. Keeping an accurate account of events is an important duty for all bracers. So get with the program and stop trying to make this out to be harder than it is, Estelle. Okay, I got it. Make sure you do. Alright then, let's begin. Look over by the door. You can see that there's a bulletin board standing there. First, I want you to go and check the job description posted there. That sound, there's a few menus that are kind of redundant to actually read out loud, but that sounds like a pigeon cooing, according to members of my family, is actually the text rolling across the screen. Alright, so if we click on the board, we get this kind of, it just feels very Oregon Trail-esque. We have the job, training retrieval, let's click. So our pay is 500 Mira, the client is Sche-Ra. It says details direct request. So the description of the training is, this training will involve searching the sewers beneath Roland and bringing back the contents of a chest. See Sche-Ra for details. Also, the Bracer Guild has a logo that we can now see. It's actually a logo that was in the intro, and it is a gauntlet in front of a yellow and red background. Alright, and also this stuff is automatically recorded in the Bracer notebook. Unfortunately, it's recorded by Estelle, who takes really bad notes, and I have to feel like Joshua's notes would be better, but we don't get his inventory. Sad. Sche-Ra. Very good. It looks like you were able to see what was posted without any trouble. Checking the bulletin board is one of the most basic functions a bracer performs on their job. Checking regularly to see whether or not there are any urgent tasks which need immediate attention is also an important duty for bracers. Man, all this talk about duty is starting to cramp my style. Sure, there are lots of rules to follow, but there's an equal level of responsibility in the jobs themselves. I think being a bracer calls for more than just someone with a half-hearted attitude. I guess you're right. I'll just have to be more motivated. Is that so? Had a change of heart, have you? You betcha. Well, before all that motivation sneaks off somewhere, let's get to work on your next task. What will we be doing this time? We'll be heading across the street to Mr. Melder's Orbital Factory and learning about how to use its services. He has graciously taken time out of his work schedule to explain things, so make sure to be on your best behavior. Okay. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like or subscribe. 1 like equals 1 Mira. I'm just trying to afford the liberal news. Adios bless. Until next time, happy trails.